Hello, cuties. Koopa Troll, hi! How you been? I haven't seen you in a while. Granted, I know I'm streaming a lot later now than I used to when you were first coming by, but yeah, we're back to filling up that dex. We are currently at 162. And we're gonna get Hydrox the Gloom here leveled up to learn Petal Dance before we evolve her into a Blossom. But how you been doing, Koopa Troll? How are you on this lovely New Year's Eve? I see you're even in here with the Chikorita icon by your name. Perfectly apropos. Let's go ahead and head over to Goldenrod and get a haircut for our precious little Cleffa.
Welcome. I run the Pokemon Salon. I'm the older and better of the two haircut brothers. I can make your Pokemon beautiful for just 500 yen.
Beam, 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 beam. Alrighty, let's take Moonpie over to the friendship checker lady and see. Oh, that's right, she only looks at the first party. Or the first member of the party. Yo, let's go. I think we should be able to go ahead and get her leveled up to a Clefairy now. But yeah, I'd mostly just been spending the day chilling. I was off from my job today. I kept accidentally dumping salt on my mac and cheese instead of pepper, so I ran a bit late. It was all the Garganacles from Kubi's stream. Or the Knackleys. Gargled one too many Knackles. Yo, low-key though, actually, some mac and cheese doesn't sound too bad. Maybe I'll make that after the stream. A whole stack of them. A whole stack of mac or a whole stack of Knackles. But no, it's little things that make me happy and feel better. So, with mac and cheese, like whenever I buy the Kraft brand, I buy the Super Mario shaped ones instead of just the regular ones. Because it's Super Mario. You know I don't really talk about it much, but I'm actually like a super duper huge Mario fan. It's just that, you know, when I grew up and stuff, like, Mario is just such a fundamental part of gaming. Saying you were a Super Mario fan was kind of synonymous to just saying you're a fan of video games. So it's not something I ever think to mention, but, like, I'm actually, like, really into Mario and stuff like that. Like, I have pretty much every main series game. I think there might be one or two I'm missing. I don't have all the remasters. Like, I have New Super Mario Bros. And U and New Super Luigi U on Wii U. But I don't really have, like, the Switch remaster of that or anything. But I have at least some version or another of almost every game in the series. Like, the main series. I'm kind of 50-50 on the sports ones and all that stuff. Like, I like some of the Mario Tennis games, but with a lot of the Mario sports ones, I like the older ones better. Yes, anyway, how are you on this lovely New Year's Eve, Maddie? Even though we were just in the same chat like 2 minutes ago. Dang it, I was trying to have Moonpie actually win a battle on her own. I have a stack of Mac in the back for a fact. Sadly, I lack the tact, but I have the knack, and I do have the knack to have a pack of hacked and jacked racks in a sack. Ah, at least you got something there for a snack. Remember, I had to move my mic location because a certain fuzzball appeared out of nowhere to sit on me. Nah, that would be whack. Shit, Clef is still asleep. You know, since my fridge isn't making all kinds of sounds, I probably need to reduce the filter on my mic. I was actually watching back some of my Dawn of Sorrow stream from Sunday, and I felt like I was, like, super quiet in that video. I'll ask Zach, who's a yak, if he has any crackers, though. Also, I mentioned it before, but Dot's been pretty congested, and since I've been home all day, I just let her stay in the house. I haven't even tried to put her outside. So she's actually just been sitting around in the living room all day. Ow, ow, baby girl, those claws hurt. Answer the question you asked. I'm doing alright today. The mac and cheese is the shell noodles, which I don't like as much, and I'm basically living the worst life anyone's ever had. Oof. The problem with the shell ones is it feels like it's always so hard to get them to cook right, to get the cheese to distribute evenly, because they'll cup around each other, end up stacking. So it's really hard to get, like, the cheese to noodle ratio to work out. Oop, hey, give me a sec. I'm gonna be right back. I made my water, but I left it in the kitchen. I'm gonna go get it. It'll take me just 1 minute. Also been working on the ZA playthrough. I have all team members I wanted, and they're fully evolved right before the day-to-day guard fight. Already? Didn't you just start that, like, Saturday or Sunday? Get your water! Okay.
Mizu acquired. So what's the main team you're running on this playthrough? Did the battles for the X-Rank Challenger ticket today and everything after. Baralligator, Meowstic Female, Scolipede, Houndoom, Hawlucha, and Excadrill. Cool, cool. Sorry, I had to cough for a second there. Well, I was hoping Moonpie was gonna evolve, but even though she said I had like the super trusts me, I guess she's not all the way there yet. You take a sip? Have you partook? I actually sipped on it when I was walking back over here with it in my hand. Honestly, I think it's just been hard for me to recover because, like, I haven't been really bad sick like I was a couple weeks ago. Can't stand ice. I haven't been really bad sick like I was a couple weeks ago, but the weather changes like 20 degrees almost every day for the last week. So, like, I'll go to bed with, like, really light, like, kind of summer pajamas on. And, you know, because, like, I'll go to bed and it's, like, 55 degrees. And then I'll wake up and it's, like, 20 degrees in the house. It's been snowy here since yesterday, about 1 to 2 inches. Wow, that's enormous.
Surely enough that anyone would be pleased. It's definitely an above average amount, for sure. Also, Sunday, when I was cross-referencing stuff on my, like, original DS file of, Dawn of Sorrow, like, on my actual DS. Because I pulled out, like, my DSi and put the actual game cartridge in there. And, like, cross-reference my old file. And, God damn it. It's so funny, because I got so used to playing Dawn of Sorrow, like, on my TV for my streams, that it just felt, like, really tiny. A real sorry to hear you been feeling icky. You got sick company with your criminal cat, though. I mean, I feel like that's probably part of the reason she's been sick, too. Because, like, the weather here has been all kinds of nonsense. I mean, I can hear it in my voice because I can't get my voice as high as I want. Like, I can feel the congestion when I raise my voice up. It hasn't been, like, super bad, but it's still annoying. Honestly, weird as it may sound, like what I really wanted to do today was finish the main story now that I have the special donut for ZA. But I just ended up spending like the second half of my day watching QB's stream and then like fell asleep for 3 hours. So ever since I got the NSO expansion, I've just been like... Whenever I have kind of like some downtime and my brain isn't really braining, I've just been like playing a little bit of Mario 64. Just like get 1 or 2 stars. Good for the body, but not for the gamer brain. Well, my stinky job, like, I told them I need 3 days off a week. Or every other week, at least. But of course, they've not listened, and in the last, like, month or so, I've had only 2 days off. That's why my streams were so not consistent, because I was just coming home exhausted. Burnt berry. Item check, everybody. You're not holding anything. Just took your burnt berry. Mint berry. I'm not sure why I handed you a mint berry, but I will have that back. And I think the main team members are holding, like, their items for, like, because you got magnet, no, you have amulet coin, and you have sharp beak. Okay. Because the reason I want at least the 3 days off, at least every other week, is because I want the extra time to be able to rest and also start working on, like, my creative stuff and more stream assets and stuff. Back in a bit. Okie dokie, I'll be yapping. Let's see here. So I need to go say hi to Kurt. I will pound these balls. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do. It's weird. I've actually been having, like, really mid to bad luck with getting the side quests for new megas to pop up for ZA. Because I've only gotten, like, maybe 2 or 3 of them, because I've seen at least 1 or 2 other megas on Kubi's stream, and there's one that on Jude's stream she referenced, but I never actually saw it, because I was, like, I turned away from the screen to avoid the spoiler. Since Jude works from home and Pokemon's like one of the only games she plays, she like whips through Pokemon games at lightning speed. Let's see, what kind of balls do I want today? Let's go ahead and get some level balls. Lovable balls. All balls are lovable. You can just go ahead and sit behind me, little baby butt. Okay, I'm ready. Come on already. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh wait, that's right. I need to go ahead and go to Violet and get all the, like, the small berries. Because I got the haircut. I need to make sure I remember to do Cal's battle over in Viridian, because I think I forgot to do that last time. Ow. Bitterberry? I don't even know her berry. Oops, I forgot to mute the mic, I'm sorry. Loki, I've got like 50 games I want to play at least for streams, and like I can't decide what order to do them in. I mean, I know with the later Final Fantasies, I'm gonna play the Final Fantasies from like 5 onward, at least from 5 to 12 in order. And then between 6 and 7, lol, 6, 7. Between 6 and 7, I am going to do Chrono Trigger and then Mario RPG. Because I've mentioned this before, I think, but there's a very clear game design through line that goes from Final Fantasy VI to Chrono Trigger to Mario RPG to 7. It's crazy how much 7 curbs from Mario RPG's game design, like having a main character you can't take out of the party, having like, because traditionally, like if you've seen my streams for 5, the Final Fantasy games had like weapon, like the left hand and right hand, head armor, body armor, and then like an accessory, which also is how Chrono Trigger has it set up. But with Mario RPG, it had like a weapon slot, armor slot, and an accessory slot. And Mario RPG, once again, having the non-removable main character who's central to the story, and the same weapon and armor setup, like Final Fantasy VII lifts that directly from Mario RPG. And I feel like that's one of those things that nobody ever really talks about, and I think it's fascinating. Because Mario RPG feels like generations removed from Final Fantasy VII, but it only came out a year prior. Because it's crazy to think about, like, again, because it feels like such a generational leap, but Super Mario RPG and Super Mario 64 came out in the same year. Oh shit, did I overrun my berries? Yes, I got 99. Okay, let's go to the store and let's sell, like, 20. I know they don't sell for much, but... wanted to get my sheets in the washer while I have the spark too. I understand that. Well, I've accidentally just found out that apparently the biggest amount of items you can have in a stack in gold, silver, crystal is 99, because I had 101 berries and it created a separate stack for 2 of them. I ended up selling off a bunch of the berries. Hi, Cole. How are you doing? There is a mouse around here. A squeaky little mouse playing some games. How are you doing on this lovely New Year's Eve, Cole? Of course, for me, it was Tuesday. Hi, Rain. How are you doing on this New Year's Eve? Whoa, thank you for streaking. It's a little cold out, but hey, I admire your bravery. I guess it's a little cold out. But, like, honestly, actually, though, thank you so much for the watch streak. It is awesome and wonderful that you guys want to show up so consistently to watch my streams. It means the world to me, it really does. Meet the baby. Oh yeah, yesterday Maddie and I were talking about some Persona stuff, and then, like, I watched this video that was, like, 2 hours long about the evolution of the user interface in, like, every Persona game. So I admit I kind of have the itch to stream some Persona. Doing good. Surprisingly have more energy than I know what to do with, so it's a pretty big improvement. Hell yeah, love to hear that. I'm so glad you're feeling better. It was I was admittedly a little worried in the back of my head, because you've had, like, a migraine for, like, it feels like a week or 2 weeks. I don't know if it's been the same migraine, but as someone who used to fight against them myself, I'm so glad to hear that you're feeling better. Capricorn. Gurn, Capricorn. Yulu, Capricorn. Oh, flexing your new Kubi emojis from your gift sub today. Emotes, I'm sorry. The old took over for a second there. I don't know, is calling something an emoji an old thing? No, wait, actually, emotes would be older than emoji. My brain's scrambled. Glad you're doing better, so I was grabbing my sweet tea and crackers. No, Cole, put the sweet tea down. I like you having teeth. I don't know where you live, but if that's southern sweet tea, that's like just a cup of sugar with a tiny little bit of water and a pinch of tea flavoring. Might make myself some tea here in a bit, actually. See, I buy the big jugs, lol, big jugs, of the Arizona sugar-free diet green tea. Give you a hint, it's one of the first states to pop up alphabetically. You live in Alakazam? No, Abra? But no, if you actually do live in, like, Alabama or something, then yeah, I do. That's why I enjoy my naps. Oh yeah, it's all coming together. We'll soon depart for Saffron. Are you coming aboard? May I see your rail pass, please? Hey, right this way. got a blend of hibiscus, strawberry, and raspberry, and I've been enjoying them recently. Yeah, no, I'm a Bama boy, so golf is in fact Southern sweet tea. I never would have expected you to be from Alabama. You're so smart. Viridian, that's where I'm going. Viridian City. Cole's teeth are just disintegrating. See, that's the real reason why, like, the old stereotype of Southerners not having their teeth. It's not because they don't have good hygiene or anything like that. It's just that, like, you're drinking teeth-melting sugar water from the time you're, like, 2? They basically are. I want to be like Gulpin. Gulpin these nuts! Had too much work done on my teeth not to take my dental health seriously. The thing is, my mom actually taught me to take this really seriously from a really young age, because I've only ever had 2 teeth problems in my whole life.
I travel out here just so I can battle you.
Oh shit, I should have started with Furo. I don't know why, but I had it in my head that... Oh wait, did it start with Furo? Yay, go me! Can't afford dental care right now. Yeah, none of us can afford anything. Take care of your teeth. I'm pretty sure that if I do an ancestry test on most Southerners, a majority will chase it back to Milo's tea factory. Oing. Go, Firo, bounce on it like it ain't no thing. Bonk. I remembered that I can use experience share in this game. I know Cyndaquil is in Legends Arceus, but I'm really kind of sad that Typhlosion's the only Johto starter without a Mega. Because if he had, that would have meant like the first 3 generations of starters would have all had Mega Evolutions. Actually, everyone in Gen 6 does, so... From the generations that matter, that only leaves like 2 out of Gen 5, and then 6, 7, 8, and 9. Wait, 7, 8, and 9. I just said Gen 6, I'm silly. I mean, it makes the most sense for the Gen 6 starters to have Megas, because that's like the region where Mega Evolution was introduced. But you had so little teeth problems, it's something I'm very thankful for. I'm incredibly thankful for it. So this is someone who's had their top front teeth basically rebuilt. Damn. I have never understood why teeth don't just naturally grow back. Like, just from, like, a body standpoint. Because, like, most animals with long lives, like elephants, the thing that actually ends up killing them isn't even old age. It's just that their teeth get too destroyed to basically be repaired anymore. Like, they get so destroyed that they can't eat anymore. And they just die of starvation. I mean, hey, I'm glad humans have medical technology to, like, rebuild teeth or do false teeth or whatever, but... It just seems weird that teeth are a thing that doesn't grow back naturally when they're so pivotal to existing. Imagine if elephants had opposable thumbs and the capability for human speech. One just walks into the room and it's like, hey, is anyone gonna address me? Gotta give it a hop. Honestly, though, my favorite elephant in the room joke is probably Zootopia. I think they're great listeners. Hey, hello, Arnie calling. Are you awake now, Mots? Hey, let's battle our Pokemon. I won't lose to you in battling or in the bug catching contest. I'll be here on Route 35. Let's talk again, huh?
You know, I really wish we didn't have to wait till Gen 4 for Tangela to get an evolution. Granted, like, in the code of the Space World demo for, Gold and Silver, there is a Tangela evolution that's actually pretty similar looking to Tangrowth. So it's always weird to me because it was, like, on their mind and then it just got scrapped. Because they also had like a Farfetch'd evolution in there, which is really cool. It looks kind of like it's got a Zoro thing going on with like a mask and everything. But it isn't really particularly anything like Surfetch'd. In fact, I'm still really irritated that there's not like a Cantonian Surfetch'd or something. Like, I like the Galarian Farfetch'd and I love Surfetch'd. But I was honestly disappointed when I realized Surfetch'd was only an evolution for Galarian Farfetch'd, like, because I love original Farfetch'd. Because, like, it also really annoys me that there's no real equivalent of Obstagoon for, like, regular Linoon. Is that... He said Zoro, my brain immediately went to One Piece. I imagine Tangela using 2 vines. Well, I was talking about Farfetch'd having the Zoro-type evolution. But I could totally see Farfetch'd having, like, 1 leak in its beak and then 1 in each, of its wings. It is a little bit funny to me that the One Piece character has overwritten the, like, classic historical Zoro. Well, not really historical, it wasn't a real figure, but, like, the classic literature. Yeah, we gonna make some tea. Okie dokie. Though it is interesting, the actor who played Roronoa Zoro in the One Piece live-action series. Oh, Zoro the Persona. Right, from Persona 5. It's weird they made a One Piece reference in Persona 5. But, no, the actor who played Zoro in the One Piece live-action also plays the One Piece TCG, and he got, like, 2nd or 3rd place in a recent tournament. And it's so funny, because the replies to this on, like, whatever news thing I saw on Twitter are like, imagine sitting down to play the One Piece TCG, and your opponent is literally Zoro. But I don't know, the One Piece TCG, from what I've seen, has this weird thing that Bandai Namco, or, well, I guess just Bandai for their trading card game arm. Oh, he's a Zoro leader. I didn't actually see the kind of deck he played, though I would hope so. But, no, it's like, it's weird because Bandai has, like, a single trading card game design that they use for all their Shonen Jump properties. Because, like, the Dragon Ball Super card game, the Naruto card game, and the current One Piece card game all use almost exactly the same, like, game design. Because I have some of the Dragon Ball Super cards, because Dragon Ball. It's another thing I don't mention, but I have, like, a basically lifelong Dragon Ball fixation. It's never gone away. Though the way I enjoy, experience, and appreciate Dragon Ball seems to be a universe away from the major English-speaking fandom, because I really don't care about power levels or any of that shit. I like the characters, I really love the stories, I like the fights, but I don't care who's got bigger number. I just want to see the characters do cool shit and get out of scrapes and all that stuff. Like, I like the fights for the actual fights, not for fucking stat tracking and shit like that. I think I saw somebody say on, like, Blue Sky or Twitter that people treat shonen battle anime like it's, like, sports statistics, and yeah, that's so true, and I can't stand it. Oh yeah, somebody who plays a lot of Bandai's TCGs, it makes understanding them easier. Naruto is one of those things that I have a mild interest in passing, but I can never get super into it. Which sucks, because, like, well, it doesn't really suck. I mean, it's just a thing I'm not super into. Like, I'm a little bit into it. I don't dislike it or anything. It has a lot of issues that really bother me, especially the way female characters are handled. And the fact that they're not. Really tired of Goku bad dad. That's not even funny or true. I mean, all the times he was absent from his kid's life, he was dead. The problem is people don't consider what's happening in the downtime in the story, because Dragon Ball tends to time skip to times when stuff actually battle-y is happening. So we don't really see the fact that, like, Goku's there for Gohan's entire young childhood. Goku spends the 3 years with Gohan when they're training for the androids. He spends, you know, the whole 2 years in the time chamber together. And heck, okay, one of the things is, like, people use the whole fight with Cell as, oh, a Goku bad dad example. No, it's an example of how he's a good dad, but he's also human. Because to him, powering Cell up to full is a way to show how much confidence he has in Gohan, because he knows Gohan can do it. He's showing, I have the max faith in you, Gohan, that I know even with Cell at full power, you can dust him. You can take him out. I know, I believe in you. But the thing is, the misjudgment he makes is a really common one for a lot of parents to make, is that he assumes that Gohan's interests and how he handles things are going to be the same way that Goku's interests are. And then he realizes too late when Piccolo points it out, that doesn't make Piccolo a better dad than him. That makes Goku a human who made a mistake and misread a situation because he projected his own wants and ideas onto his kid, which is a really common thing for parents to do. And the minute Goku realizes the mistake he made, the minute he realized he misread Gohan, he jumps in there to fix everything, to try to say, once again, Cell tells him not to tag out, but Goku's like, give me the Senzu beans. I'm going back in there, get Gohan out of there. I misread, he admits he misread the situation. He realizes he fucked up. Which, granted, he isn't able to jump back in, but still, and the thing is, after the Cell games and stuff, after Goku comes back, he never really gets pushy on Gohan about training again, and he's always supportive of Gohan doing his, studies and stuff like that, because that's truly what he loves. So no, Goku is a wonderful parent. He can be a little bit of a space case, a little bit of an airhead, and he doesn't always understand the fact that, other people don't view things or have the same interests the way he does. Even though I know it wasn't intentionally written this way, it can also be a really good kind of almost warning for autistic people who are also parents to realize that their extreme love for something isn't always going to carry over to their kids. And your kids, even if they do end up also being autistic, may have different fixations from you. Because once again, as soon as Goku really gets it into his head that fighting is not Gohan's fixation, that he doesn't enjoy it the way that Goku does, Goku immediately snaps into supporting Gohan 100% on his studies. Goku trusted Gohan so much to take SL because Goku knew he wasn't going to be around forever also. That's true. Let me think I go blow my nose real quick. That and another thing I think especially American English speakers don't really understand is that, Piccolo's not a dad replacement. It's just that a lot of families, especially outside the US, have a bigger, broader, more engaged family that's a part of each other's lives. And there are going to be, long-term family friends and uncles and stuff like that are going to be, a full part of your family, whether they're related or not. The amount of times at the card shop I hear Goku slander and have to walk away and not engage makes me upset. Oh no, trust me, it's annoying because, I remember even with, one of the things, because, do you remember the, creators of Dragon Ball Z Abridged, Team 4-Star? They did a whole thing where they, basically did commentaries over all their old episodes and stuff in a bunch of long-form videos, and they flat out said that they regretted playing into the old Goku's at the bad dad jokes in the earlier episodes. It's they had no idea that DBZ Abridged was going to get as big as it did, because a lot of them also hate those jokes, especially now. Then again, a lot of people's opinions on stuff, especially Dragon Ball related, just seems like they're just whatever they hear on the internet, they just parrot that. So one of my biggest things that irritates me with Dragon Ball, especially from reading the original manga,
is that, like, for some reason, the movies and a lot of the filler in, like, Toei, like, I'm talking the 90s movies, not, like, the movies that come out recently. Like, post-Battle of Gods. I'm talking about the ones from the 90s and 80s. For whatever reason, they decided, the writers of those and any other non-manga material, turn Krillin into a joke character, and I don't understand that. Don't fuck with Dragon Ball fans, they haven't watched Dragon Ball. But no, like, for some reason, a lot of the filler and a lot of the movies turned Krillin into, like, a joke character, which makes no fucking sense. And I mean, you can't go back to original Dragon Ball and say it was a joke character. Everybody was a joke in original Dragon Ball. That's just how pre-Raditz Dragon Ball was. But it's like they make Krillin look like a wiener and a loser who can't ever do anything, and that's just flat out not his character. Yeah, he's a little bit underconfident, but I mean, when you have Goku as a best friend and grow up beside him and stuff, like, yeah, you're gonna have a little bit of lack of confidence, even if you are the strongest naturally born human on the planet. Piccolo's not a replacement dad, he's more of a friend to Gohan, because Piccolo was alone on Earth, so it's more friendship than son and father. Exactly. It's like a mentor friendship, which is another thing I think a lot of English-speaking, especially American fans, have a problem with understanding the idea of a mentorship role. Yeah, like, Krillin is actually, like, pretty much my favorite Dragon Ball character. It's funny, though, with Dragon Ball and DBZ, like, when I was first engaging with it, because originally I played the trading card game, the Score trading card game from, like, 2000. And then, like, the DBZ Budokai on... I originally played it on PS2 at a friend's house, and I ended up getting it for GameCube, because I didn't have a PS2 when I was younger. You know, like, back when PS2 and GameCube were, like, new and stuff. But yeah, I got DBZ Budokai, and the thing is, like, my two favorites were, like, Krillin and Android 18, and I had no idea that they would end up together later in the story. So it was pretty funny that my two favorite characters ended up getting married. They're still, like, pretty much my two favorite characters in the series. Like, granted, I love most of the characters in Dragon Ball. Hi, Gusty. How are you on this Christmas Eve? Well, it probably is already Christmas Eve for you, but... Or not Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve. One of those Eves. Favorites are Yamcha, Trunks, and Piccolo. Yamcha's so cool. Though honestly, like, his Desert Bandit design from OG Dragon Ball, like the first arc, is really hot. I wish they hadn't cut his hair. It do be New Year's Eve for me. How have you been, Gusty? I feel like you've probably been busy with the holiday stuff. Drawing my trainer from ZA with their Mega Pokemon. Awesome! Thank you, Rain, for once again cutting a worthless object. Neural Sorority. Exion Tingirir. Again, I do like the feature that Twitch will tell me if somebody's a likely ban evader or a bot. Don't have a cut on me, though. That's because you're not worthless. You're wonderful and you need to appreciate yourself. Love yourself, or else. I'd probably say my favorites are Piccolo and Videl. I'm really sad Toriyama decided he didn't want to write Gohan and Videl's dynamic anymore and basically shelved Videl. I don't know how much of that's Toriyama and how much of that was editorial mandate to get back to fights. Because I probably could have watched a whole series of, just Gohan and Videl's high school shenanigans. Because it's easy to forget now, but aside from being the guy who created Dr. Slump, Toriyama wasn't really this living legend back when he was writing Dragon Ball. He was just another manga artist, so he was subject to a lot of editorial interference. Especially because he usually wrote by the seat of his pants instead of planning things really far ahead. Which, like, it works out fine, especially when Dragon Ball's a comedy, but, you know, like, pretty rad it's Dragon Ball. But, once it starts becoming more story and action focused, you can see some of the cracks start to show here and there. I love downtime in Dragon Ball. Goku spending time with Gohan before Cell is such a nice episode. Love seeing them spend time together. It really is. That whole thing with, like, Goku just wearing casual wear and, you know, like, them just having, like, a picnic and stuff is so fun. It's a weird thing, though, because, like, with Dragon Ball Super, my favorite parts of Dragon Ball Super, I'm not counting the movies because they're a whole different thing, especially since most of the movies were written partially or directly by Toriyama. But with, like, the Dragon Ball Super serialized, like, series, it's so weird because a lot of the action is okay, but not on par with the original series. And a lot of the, like, serious story plots are, like, eh. Or that's, like, the people writing it definitely did not understand how Toriyama does plot twists. But the, like, slice of life stuff from Super is always fantastic. Oh yeah, I love when people drop the Gohan loves to fight. Ah! I forgot my tractor. Ah! No, every fucking time that gets me. But, like, I think it's telling that the stuff from Super that always gets memed or referenced is always the slice of life stuff because it's really good. So I definitely agree with Mr. Fusion's take, where they were like, the Dragon Ball introducing gods is exhausting. I mean, I don't particularly dislike Beerus and Whis as characters, but, like, I'm not a huge fan of Zeno or any of the other stuff, like, in that vein. And granted, I should say, in addition to me having a Dragon Ball fixation, there isn't really any part of Dragon Ball that I completely dislike, per se. But it's something I love. I can still be critical of elements. More gods that are even higher than those other gods that were introduced earlier, and more gods who are even higher than them. It's like, yeah. Yeah. The slice of life parts are always great, but do you think it's safe to say I love GT, or am I getting a throwback to No, I like GT also. I have a lot of positive emotional attachment to GT. Even though I think its execution is dog water a lot of times, it just comes from the same issues Super has, weirdly enough, is that the other writers don't understand how Toriyama writes. They don't understand Toriyama's characters. That's why in filler and movies, they end up getting turned into caricatures. Because nobody seems to realize it, but Toriyama, as weird as this may sound, is a master of subtlety. Yes, I know this is the guy who writes boob and naked teenagers and poop jokes and stuff like that, but, like, his characterization and his growth of his characters is so subtle and tangible and real. I like Goku and Vegeta's friendship in GT a lot. Oh, dude, one of the biggest and best character moments for Vegeta is when they're both Super Saiyan 4 fighting, a 1-star Omega Shenron, or Shenlong. And Vegeta's like, turns to Goku and says, we should fuse. Like, Vegeta, just like, it's such a wonderfully subtle thing, but Vegeta bringing up that they should fuse. Not Goku. Vegeta bringing it up is just such a big, big thing. And like I said, I think that works so well, unlike a lot of the other stuff in GT. That works so well because it's understated and subtle. Vegeta wearing less and less actual armor throughout the series as he opens up Lego's Pride more and more. Yes, that's so good. That's why I can't stand that Super is trying to put him back in his Cell Saga armor. Because it's not trying to do that for any character reason, it's trying to do that because that's the most quotation marks iconic look for Vegeta. Again, he's not wearing his Cell Saga armor for character reasons, he's wearing it because that's quotation marks what Vegeta looks like. Vegeta smiling and laughing at Goku being hungry adds years to my life. Well, thing is, this is gonna be weird, but GT, not the show, but Dragon Ball GT Final Bout was my very first introduction to Dragon Ball. A friend of mine had rented it, and I was staying the night over their house. And generally, I've always had this issue where when I'm not at home... Well, okay, it doesn't really... It's not an issue with hotels, but I guess when I'm at another person's house, I can't sleep. I just won't do it. So, when everybody else is asleep... I basically did an entire run of the arcade mode for Dragon Ball GT Final Bout, and I don't know why, but Kid Me wanted to specifically play as Kid Goku. Non-Super Saiyan form, just regular base form GT Goku was the character I wanted to play as. And I played like the whole single player mode for that game, like the whole arcade mode. And it's just like, I'll always have that memory, and I always have like a really strong attachment to like the GT Goku. And that, and I just love the combination of the kidified Goku with Pan and Trunks. People who say Vegeta's pride makes him strong or something like that, they completely miss the point. They're projecting onto Vegeta. I'm sorry, but people project onto Vegeta really hard. Vegeta is a fucking temperamental male wife. I think Goku's GT, Gi, and End of Z are my favorites. Well, it's hard for me to really pick a favorite. Like, I love the orange, because, like, it's so iconic. But it's hard for me not to think of the orange and blue for Goku. But I do really love the purple and yellow from the GT. Good old orange really brings out my stupid face. I get that reference. Oh, you see, the thing is, a lot of people go with the Captain America. I got that reference. But my internal thing for that is abridged Goku in the distance being like, I get it! No, like, I am honestly still molding to this day that in the main, like, GT, Pan never gets to go Super Saiyan. Even though there are, like, 1,000 situations where that would have been the thing that happens. Reshaping a Dragon Ball with reasonable people. I love Dragon Ball. Like, I will fixate on Dragon Ball so hard. But no, there are aspects of every Dragon Ball series I love. Like, I love Pan. She's one of my favorite characters. I was so excited for her to be a central character in the superhero movie, which is a fantastic movie, by the way. It was also the last new Dragon Ball thing me and Mom got to watch together, and she absolutely loved that movie. She loved Piccolo, like, so much. Piccolo was one of her faves. And she always thought the, like, the mentor relationship between Piccolo and Gohan, she always really loved that, too. She thought it was, like, really sweet. Whereas my mom was also a sucker for, like, mean, tough, you know, evil bad guys, you know, having somebody that, like, brings out their warm, gooey center. Mots? It's me, Dana. My Flaffy's so full of energy, it's a little scary. How are your Pokemon doing? It took only an instant to KO a wild Magnemite. It must be because you gave me some battling tips last time. See ya! Oh shit, I just remembered I have to go battle, Arnie. I hope he's still open. They fucking robbed Pan of going Super Saiyan. No, like, that one scene at the beginning of GT, well, not at the beginning. I think about it as the beginning because of the way that the American freaking broadcast fucked it up, but the thing on M2 when she thinks she's been betrayed by Giru, and then, like, the trio squad, I can't remember their names, but they're the 3 robots that fuse together. And then Pan just completely, like, gets furious and obliterates one of them. And she's got, like, tears streaming down her face. No, it's not Rildo. They're these 3 guys, they're, like, called, like, Nutsu, and they're, like, because, okay, one of the most iconic scenes from that arc is Goku, when they fuse together and they form a drill, and Goku just catches it with his hands, and this causes them to spin backward. But the 3 of them are, like, melting with the thing, and it caused Pan to get just furious. And she charges up the 2 energy blasts in her hand and just, like, obliterates one of them. Oob and Majub are one of my favorite things introduced in GT. No, like, Oob and the transformation, it's like, it sucks that nobody can seem to think of what to do with Majin Buu as a character. But if they had to do anything, having him fused with Oob is cool. And Oob in general in GT is just, like, cool as hell. It sucks that the story writers never have him do anything. But having, like, a super-powered regular human who also happens to have, like, some of Majin Buu's powers is awesome. Superhero movie's just outstanding, even if it's just the Android Saga again. I think it's different enough. Like, I'm not a super fan of Cell Max being visually similar to Cell, or being called Cell Max, but it's so different from Cell that it's more like Hirudegarn than it is like Cell. So it's like, it curbs a lot of elements for sure, but I don't think it's similar enough to the Android Saga to be a rerun. Another thing I share with her, Maddie, I know you're talking about that you love, you know, like, just like my mom, you love when, you know, the hard, mean, evil characters get their soft center revealed by another sweet character. For some reason, when I first read this, I thought you were saying that, just like Pan, you've also never gone Super Saiyan. See here. That absolutely should have been when she went Super Saiyan. The thing that fucks me up the most is that, like, they asked Toriyama why Pan never went Super Saiyan, like what the lore reason was. And, you know, first Toriyama's like, well, she wasn't born yet. You know, she's a little kid. She's like 4 years old. And they're like, oh, no, we're talking about it in GT. And Toriyama's like, she didn't? I would have given them a design for it. I thought they didn't. I thought they designed it themselves since they never asked me. It's my turn to win now. I've turned over a new leaf. Really mad at that moment she didn't go Super Saiyan. I mean, it's true. But you're still Super Saiyan in my heart, Maddie. You don't know that Maddie can't go. I'm not saying Maddie can't. I'm just saying I haven't had any evidence that they had yet. But to be fair, Maddie wasn't in Dragon Ball GT, so we know that Maddie didn't do it in GT, just like Pan. I mean, technically, Super Continuity Pan went Super Saiyan before she was born. Because, in the, like, broadcast version where Super covers the Battle of Gods movie, you know, they do the Super Saiyan ritual, and of course, like, you know, Vegeta, Goten, Trunks, Gohan, and then, like, the 6th pure-hearted Saiyan ends up being Pan, who's unborn at the moment. And the thing is, when they all do the ritual together, Videl's hair starts glowing gold, and her eyes turn blue like a Super Saiyan. So that's literally Pan's unborn body going Super Saiyan inside Videl, and having, like, a knock-on effect of funneling that through Videl, which I always thought was so fucking cool. Like, I know Videl, I don't think her hair changes in, the movie version. No, it doesn't. I'm going through the brain space. Because apparently I have an extra brain specifically just for Dragon Ball. But she doesn't go Super Saiyan in the movie version. But honestly, that was one of my favorite changes to the TV version. It's okay, Pan. You don't go Super Saiyan, but Goku Jr. will. Honestly, the whole, like, Goku Jr., Vegeta Jr. thing in the ending is, like, one of my least favorite parts of GT. That's the thing, is, like, a lot of stuff that's really popular with Dragon Ball fans is the stuff that I do not like in the series. Like, okay, this is gonna be, like, my spicy, ultra-controversial hot take. I don't like GT's ending. No, that's the ending of GT, the televised series. Because the final ending is a flash forward to all that stuff with Goku Jr. Fighting Vegeta Jr. in the World Martial Arts Tournament, and then, like, 100-something-year-old Pan sees Goku's ghost or whatever, and then he just walks off in the crowd. That's from the TV show. The OVA special, I'm actually okay with. I think it's a cute little story. But I don't have a problem with the concept of Goku Jr. or him going Super Saiyan or anything like that. I'm just not a fan of the flash forward being part of GT's ending. I don't like the end of GT in general. I think them trying to elevate Goku to some kind of, like, heroic god status, like, savior figure is stupid, because that's not who Goku is. The whole crux of Goku and what makes him so special as a hero and a protagonist is that he's just a guy. Because generally, people who are gods or savior figures or the elite in Dragon Ball, like in the original narrative, almost always get humbled. They always get brought down. And the people who almost always come out on top is just people who are just regular old people living normal lives. You just like fighting people, yeah. It's weird because, like, Toriyama even spells this out at the end of the manga. You know, where Vegeta's like, you know, I always thought, oh, maybe you fight to save the world. I thought maybe you fight to protect the people, but I realized that the true key to your strength is you just doing what you love, and it makes you happy. Because Goku's just the guy, he doesn't fight with animosity in his heart. He doesn't even care about winning, he just is having fun doing something. Strength comes from the love of the game. Exactly. Hi, 7th Force. How are you doing on this lovely New Year's Eve evening? We're back on Crystal, grinding on it. Spells it out for people, and if they miss the point, that sounds about right. Because again, like I said, Toriyama often does have his themes and ideas applied fairly subtly. And like you said, he actually isn't subtle about it and spells it out directly for once, and people still don't get it. Trying not to lose my patience getting this video to render. Oh shit, that means there's a new 7th Force video coming up. Hell yeah. Okay, so obviously this video is probably going to be coming out on New Year's or New Year's Eve. I'm playing Marvel vs. Capcom Detective. And what's associated with New Year's? Well, fireworks, of course. So this is obviously going to be the Jubilee video. Super looking forward to a 3-minute video telling how to use her in Marvel vs. Capcom 1 where she's an assist. Like him going to spar with Krillin and Roshi, watching... I still do like GT's ending, and it came off as more like how he stayed dead in Cell Saga. Need to be as subtle as a brick, because media literacy is dead, apparently. Rain, I kid you not, that's one of the reasons why so many modern Netflix shows have characters openly and expressly constantly state exactly what they're doing at all times. Okay, but jokes aside, Jubilee was so popular, especially as part of 90s X-Men. I don't know how she never became playable in any of the Versus series games. It's like, I'm not a Marvel expert, but I feel like if you had asked me between, like, Marrow and Jubilee, who would be a playable character in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, my response would have been, who the hell is Marrow? Just missed out on MVC 1 by a hair. You know, these games are so legendary to me, especially Marvel 1, because like I've said before, that's the game that got me really big into fighting games, that I constantly forget that these games were pumped out within, like, 9 to 13 months of each other. You know, culminating in Marvel 2 basically being a pile of spaghetti code shoved onto arcade Dreamcast hardware. The MVC 1 only had space in the ROM for one Marvel character, and Venom 1 out. Notice I just spelled stayed as stayed. Well, I knew what you meant, don't worry, Cole. We're all dyslexic here to some degree, so it'll be fine. Yeah, because I know with Marvel 1's ROM space is why the secret characters are pretty much mostly recolors except for Roll. Though, honestly, as much as, like, I'm saying this is, like, a Mega Man crazed person, I would have much rather had Jubilee than Roll. But even then, Roll uses a lot of the moves and stuff like that, and animations. Reuses, like, the move animations for stuff like Tornado Hold from Mega Man, so... But I mean, honestly, I can't complain about Venom, because he's definitely a more popular character than
Jubilee or most other Marvel characters. And Venom's animations are so fucking cool in the Marvel vs. series. Yeah, absolutely worth it. Like, I was a little disappointed when I caught up. Well, I tried to, like, check out some other Marvel media, and Venom wasn't a melty transforming liquid man. Or at least not in some of the stuff I saw. Granted, I probably shouldn't have expected an early 2000s Spider-Man cartoon to animate anything to the level of a Marvel vs. Capcom game. Not dissing a TV cartoon or the animators. It's just like, it's more, holy fuck, Capcom sprite animators are absolutely insane beyond the level of credibility, or like reasonable expectation from anybody else. I wanted Venom way early. I tried to get him in Marvel Superheroes. Marvel said no at the time. Talking about MVC, but I'm excited Rivals teased Elsa Bloodstone. All I see when I see Marvel Rivals characters is, I wonder how this character would play in a new Marvel vs. Capcom. I'm sorry, Cole, and most people, but aside from watching a lot of the early MCU movies with my mom, most of my love for anything Marvel comes from Marvel vs. Capcom. So I come to Marvel stuff from a very odd place of, like, I like Marvel because I'm a Capcom fan. I mean, like, I am a fan of some Marvel stuff now on its own. I'm just saying, like, the reason I got an interest at all was because of Marvel vs. Capcom. I've actually mentioned this on stream before, and I think I've even mentioned it on the comments of one of Seventh Force's videos. Also, if you're not subscribed to Seventh Force on YouTube, literally go subscribe right now. They make some of the best fighting game videos. They're so thorough, so in-depth. They are must-watches if you're even casually interested in MVC. Here, actually, just a sec. Okay, there. That's his YouTube channel. Everyone go subscribe right now. I expect you all to be subscribed to him by the end of the stream. Surrender Crash. Oh no! Seventh, I'm so sorry. Oh, that sucks. Everybody put your hands up in the air. Send your rendering energy to Seventh so he can get this video done. Seriously, I really want to watch it. I feel like you've been having rendering issues a lot lately. Is it your internet connectivity, or is it just like the video editing software you've been using? Because by rendering, you're talking about like the upload process to get it to go to YouTube, right? Editing software part, yeah. Because I feel like you've had a lot of problems with that lately, just seeing your stuff on, like, Blue Sky and, you know, just you casually mentioning it in my chat here and there. Okay, so when Gloom hits level 45, I'm pretty sure she'll learn Petal Dance, and that's when I'll evolve her into a Blossom. Oh, having a Neku profile pic is great. Okay, Seventh Force is, like, he's based as hell, and he has just, like, good taste across the board. Nah, Cole, trust me, like, the games I know you love, Cole, you're gonna enjoy Seventh Force's stuff.
Because even when he's not talking about, like, fighting games and stuff, you know, he references stuff like Breath of Fire and The World Ends With You and all that stuff. So... taste is okay. And I was like... Not, your taste is pretty darn good. I should know because I have the most objective quality of all, which is the things I like, which are objectively the best things. I know because I like them. Don't worry, since I'm a streamer, you're all going to engage with the things that I like. By force. Depends on the games. Generally, play any game with Rogue. I usually have a team belt for her. Honestly, like, playing X-Men versus Street Fighter for the first time on the, Marvel, like, the Fighting Collection. Rogue is so fun in that game. Like, she's still fun to play in, Marvel 2, which is the other game I played with her in it. But dude, in X-Men vs. Street Fighter, her being literally Kirby and being able to steal anybody's moves is so freaking cool. I understand why she can't do that in Marvel 2. Because, you know, there's like 50-something fucking characters. But in general, it makes her super cool to play in X-Men vs. Street Fighter. Yeah, Gambit and Rogue join, like, the, playability of Krillin and Android 18 and the Dragon Ball fighting games, of where you can actually have, like, husband and wife team up together. I think it's super cute. Well, that, I think, part of the fun with Rogue in X-Men vs. Street Fighter, since it was really the first crossover game from the Versus series, which, like, I know, like, Akuma is in, like, Children of the Atom and stuff, but, like, it was the first dedicated crossover game, and so having a character from X-Men be able to, like, throw Hadokens or something like that, it just, like, shows the crossover even more. It's part of why Kirby's so cool in Smash Brothers, even though I know he's usually a low-tier character, is just, you know, seeing Kirby pull out the Monado, or, you know, throw Mario's fireballs or something like that. Gotta pick up the collection, but that has MVC2. If I was the MVC2, because I want to play Gambit and Sun Sun. Sun Sun is so fun to play. Also, I don't know if you've ever watched any of his content, but, oh, I feel so bad I can't remember his name. Justin Wong. When the MVC collection first came out, he was doing, like, the Wazzler content and all that stuff, where he played basically everybody against, like, every system. It was a running joke because, you know, people were like, "No, Justin, we finally got MVC2 back. Don't have everybody be returning it and uninstalling it now." But he did some videos with Sun Sun as, like, one of the central characters he used, because, like, he's one of the, like, old guard of MVC2 competitive, and he can pretty much make any character sing in ways that you would not think are possible. But watching him play Sun Sun is actually freaking insane. This video isn't happening this week. I don't know why a video... No! Ah! I'm gonna come over to your computer and just beat up your editing software until it behaves itself. tiny little mouse in your computer going, "Stop it!" Me, me, me. That's the sound of my tiny mouse punches. Like that one YouTube video thumbnail where it's like a rat clenches fist of rage. That'll be me. Maybe you'll stop being temperamental tomorrow. It feels like losing RNG right now. Like I said, everybody raise your hands in the air. Give 7th you're rendering your RNG power. Share your energy. Also, I have my mic in a different spot, so I hope my voice sounds clear. I thought when I was doing my Dawn of Sorrow stream Sunday that I sounded way too quiet. Hi, Rain. Welcome back. You got your tea? Though I'm leaning in a little closer to my desk than I was. So I started, like, arranging the stuff on my desk. I say arranging because, like, some of it, I was just moving stuff around and it got knocked down a little bit. Here, you guys can have the secret insight to the Micaiah desk collection. Right now on my desk is a, okay. We have figurines of Ash and Misty, specifically the action ones that come with a Pikachu and a Horsey. Not the really stiff ones from Tomy, they're a different series. They actually have, like, movable parts. They're from, like, I think 2001, 2002. They're the original designs. I have the Jack-specific Ice Flower Mario. I have the Ness amiibo from the Smash Brothers series. I have the Link amiibo from Link's Awakening. I have a XY era figurine of Bryson. I have the 1990 Super Mario Bros. 3 Mario Spring Happy Meal toy with, like, it's the Raccoon Mario one that's got the little bouncy spring. And from that same Happy Meal series, I have the Luigi Happy Meal toy where he's sitting on a cloud holding a Power Star. Classic thrift store finds are amazing. MVC2's art hits me in the heart in a way that's just... I just want more drawings and that stuff. Feels like the definition of eye candy. Oh yeah, MVC2's art is amazing. Honestly, the entire Marvel vs. Capcom, especially MVC 1 and 2, like, their 2D art is just phenomenal. Oh, also on the other side of my desk behind my Switch is a Swinub figure. And also I just found out that there is a Lunala Pokemon TCG hollow foil coin just sitting face down on my desk. When did that get over there? I'm back. Wow, just lurking. Finished my tea like 15 minutes ago. Girly Pop, I have no sense of time, okay? I just get on here and I play a video game and I yap, 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 yap until I'm too tired to continue yapping, and then I eat rigatoni and go to bed. Actually, that's not entirely true, but it's mostly true. Especially if you get me talking about, like, DBZ or Marvel versus Capcom or something. Then I will just yap, 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 yap. Specifically, rigatoni can't be any other kind of pasta. I mean, other kinds of pasta exist, but rigatoni is the best. It's been fact-checked by real pasta patriots. Speaking of yapping. It's like, sorry, whenever I think about Marvel, it's like, activating curly mustache mode. Random game trivia. Okay. You see, I did a smart. Every time for the last couple days when I haven't been streaming, I thought of a random game trivia. I wrote it down in a notebook and put that beside my desk. So I won't have to sit here scanning my jumbled mess of a brain to think of something. So, today's random game trivia will be Wario's Woods was the last NES game released in North America. It was released in 1994. I think it's actually, no, 95, 10 years after the NES launched in North America. And Wario's Woods has, aside from that interesting fact, is also the only NES game to ever receive an ESRB rating. With the power of info dumping, you too will never run out of things to say. It's true. The last NES, technically Famicom game released was Adventure Island 4 in Japan. Though interestingly, Wario's Woods North American release was after the Japanese release of the original PlayStation. Which is actually crazy to think about. Give me just a sec, I need to grab a pencil to check off that I used this fact in my fact notebook. Alright, I thought it was 45, but I guess it's level 44. Got those pedals dancing.
Mats, you still awake? This is Anthony the Hiker. Come on, let's battle right now. Route 33 is where I'm at. Come on down if you feel up to it. Alright then, be good.
Being able to dig into random gaming trivia is such a fun skill. Won me a trivia thing I did to some friends last week. Awesome! You have to give me some of the stuff that you had on there that you remembered, if you remember any of them. It's like your own tiny little scripts. Like I said, sometimes a random game fact will pop into my head, but like when it comes up on stream, I get like, I wouldn't want to call it stage fright, but almost just like my brain flatlines when I'm put on the spot. So I figured having the notebook right there, I can just grab any of the game trivia I want to, you know, yap about. Do I have the Sunstone in my inventory, or do I need to take it out of my PC? Okay, I need to go deposit those apricots. Was it like more modern stuff, or was it like a bunch of classic trivia questions? Also, were there any prizes, or are you guys just playing it for fun? Sunstone! Let's go, hi Jock, spell awesome time! Hydrox evolved into Bellossom. It was a Pokemon trivia. A friend of mine had some other people playing party stuff on his stream. We did the quiz game in Stadium 2. Oh, awesome! The actual quiz in the game. Also, I booted it up since I don't think I mentioned this while you were on stream, but I actually did go ahead and upgrade my NSO to the expansion pack like a week ago. So I have access to like the N64 and GBA and all that stuff on there. And yeah, my suspicions were confirmed. The Stadium 2, if you never put a gold or silver game in there, won't give you any of the information for Crystal. But you still have the whole thing for like the breeding and egg groups and move listing and all that stuff for the Gen 2 games is all still available even if you never put a cartridge in. So you can just pull up Stadium 2 anytime if you want to cross-reference something for Gen 2. I mean, yeah, obviously you can just go to Cerebi, but it's cool, like I said before, I think I mentioned when you were in here before, that all that reference material was just available in a video game in 2001. Because I know it's a lot more common for games now to have, Okay, I didn't remember to deposit this. I know it's a lot more common for games now to have, you know, reference material in-game that you can just look up. But, you know, that was almost unheard of in 2000, 2001. It's weird, like, I feel like the Pokemon Stadium games are super underrated. Like, I know they sold millions upon millions. I mean, hell, Nintendo even bundled the first one with the N64. Because I'm pretty sure a lot of... It's crazy, a lot of Nintendo 64's sales were in the last couple years of its life because it suddenly had a bunch of Pokemon games on it.
Alrighty then, my Pokemon and I are raring to go.
You know, there's a bundle for the N64 that, came with Pokemon Stadium, the transfer pack, and it came with a exclusive Pokemon promo card called Cool Porygon. Which is not some kind of, like, translation thing to make it sound more stylish. It is literally called Cool Porygon in Japanese also. Same with Game Boy, I believe. Yeah, because after Pokemon came out, Game Boy still... Like, I feel like Pokemon coming out ended up kind of delaying the Game Boy Advance. Because I feel like we probably would have skipped the Game Boy Color and went straight to something like GBA in, like, 99 or something. Porygon versus the cooler Porygon. Oh, she is confusion. You whore. Ha! Get hosed! Can't beat the baby girl with the big old booty. Bro, who self-destructs with their last Pokemon? He was just doing that specifically to be a skunk. I always wondered if Virtual Boy was the original successor plan. No, it was actually just something Gunpei Yokoi made as like a... kind of his final thing he made at Nintendo before he left. Taking down at least one of your Pokemon. What do you mean you lived? You out here living. Okay, we got Blossom added to the decks. Wait, I'm gonna need to catch another Oddish to get File Plume sometime. Fun fact, the Oddish line are like pretty much my favorite grass types. Piclet, Raisinette, Swedish, Rocher, Play-Doh, Fluffy, Darkos, Matcha, Flan, Big League, Oopsie. If we chain up Bubble Tape, she's gonna have to get to level 50 before we can evolve her, because that's when she learns Ice Beam.
have a Hypno. Let's double check the decks. And chain up Pocky. Also, I know it got a remake, but they really need to put the Pocky and Rocky games on NSO or something. Sorry I've been quiet, working on a thing, I'll show you later. Awesome. And besides, you're not obligated to yap the whole time you're here, even though I appreciate your yapping. But you guys can always just chill and vibe, too. I appreciate the lurking just as much. Okay, so I need to train Diglett. How have I not caught a Mankey? Where the hell is Mankey? Is it not in Crystal? God fucking damn it. No, it's actually evil of me. You can be a little evil if you want. Rain with the Kubi Lurk. Honestly, one of my favorite emotes. I use it so much. Okay, so I need to train up Grimer. Okay, I do need to train up Drowsy. Definitely seem like eventual NSO pickups. Natsume is pretty good about dropping them when you least expect it. And I know that having a version of a game available for purchase does not compete with it being on NSO. Because, like, Wild Guns original Super NES version is on there, but you can also buy, like, the Wild Guns Reloaded for Switch and PS4. But to be evil sometimes is a treat. Welcome to the party, pal. Honestly, though, it's always weird to me when people bitch about stuff getting added to NSO. Because it's like, it's not taking the place of something else. And, dude, like, I would not have gone out of my way to play Congo's Caper or Eliminator Boat Duel if they hadn't been on there. So it's cool to experience games I really wouldn't have tried before. And I also love when stuff that used to be Europe exclusive or used to be US exclusive or Japanese exclusive pops up on there. I think that's super freaking cool. Because, like, I've never got a chance to play, like, Poppin' Twinbee before. And yeah, I know this guy's not gonna can't you just do that on an emulator? You're gonna play these games so bad, just download the ROMs. And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. But A, it's not as convenient or fun. But also, Jonathan W. Average is not going to want to go to a random ROM site and download stuff and try to get an emulator working, because, like, even somebody like me who, you know, has their face constantly pressed against something video game was skittish about emulators for most of my life. Sketchy netcode aside, apparently the games support online. Yeah, everything on NSO supports online. Weirdly enough, I've had pretty good experiences overall. Too broke not to use the R. Oh, I don't judge anyone for using emulators or piracy. You do you. I'm just saying, like, for the regular person, it's not something they're normally going to engage with. So having these games available on a modern platform is important. Because even there are a lot of enthusiasts that don't like using emulators, but I use them. Yeah, sure, whatever. If you want to do that, go for it. You owe multi-billion-dollar company literally nothing. And as an artist myself, the only real reason I want to use my art to make money is so I don't have to work a regular job and I can just do the thing I want all the time. If I had infinity $1 million, I would never charge a single penny for anything I make. And even if I was working on video games, I'd be cool with people pirating it as long as I'm getting my, you know, as long as I'm getting paid and get to keep my job. Because I know there's always been the argument of, well, you know, buy a game instead of pirating it so the devs get paid. First of all, the devs already got paid. But the multi-million-dollar company is my dad. Oops. Time to get a new dad. My favorite thing is Dana Terrace, creative Owl House, telling people to pirate Owl House. I mean, like, it's not like Owl House is available anywhere anymore. You might as well. Yay, I hope this one's pink. Me too. I gotta find out who killed my dad. You know, someday I'm going to learn to get good at video editing, excuse me. Specifically, so, I can make a AMV for Before My Body's Dry that's from Yu-Gi-Oh! Because the song could very easily, almost every lyric could apply to Yu-Gi-Oh! I think I'm being slow played in Fusion World. I don't know what Fusion World is. So that does remind me, I really wish I had gotten the game Dragon Ball Fusions when I saw it on sale, because it's got kind of expensive after COVID. Also, really fun thing, there's a 3DS game. I guess you guys are getting another free fun fact. I'm so sorry. But there's a 3DS game that's actually a late sequel to the previously, like, Super NES, Sega Saturn, PlayStation, Dragon Ball Z Budoten series called Extreme Budoten, and it actually got an international release. And a really cool thing is Extreme Budoten's engine was also used to make a One Piece game, fighting game, that for 3DS that only released in Japan. And the thing is, with the Japanese version, if you have both games, you can play as, I think, Luffy in Dragon Ball Extreme Budoten and play as Goku in the One Piece game. Reminds me, I still need to get a Dreamcast so I can play Skies of Arcadia. Sir Seepent got me last year. Knights games are only on Saturn, they're not on Dreamcast. Because the original Knights and Christmas Knights are Saturn exclusive, though they're also available digitally on Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and Steam. Well, kind of. It's a truncated version of Christmas Nights included with regular Nights. It gets conflated into Dreamcast because it was advertised as part of Dreamcast collections alongside Sonic Adventure and Sega Bass Fishing for the 360 back in the day on the physical disc and stuff, but it's a Saturn game. So you don't get to play as the opposite franchise character in the other game, but you can play against the cat. Oh, okay, so I had it backward. I gotcha. Kind of one-way crossplay. Okay, okay. See, I should have known you'd know the thing that was about a fighting game. But even so, I think that's a really cool thing. It's weird because so many Shonen Jump franchises have really good video games. But when all the Shonen Jump franchises get put in a video game together, it ends up usually being kinda mid. With the exception of Jump Ultimate Stars, which never released outside of Japan. Still cool though, Extreme Budoten didn't even... I know, it got a lot of features cut. It's weird, a lot of 3DS games got features cut internationally that they had in the Japanese original releases. Because I know Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal Duel Carnival for 3DS was a standard full-priced physical release in Japan with online play, but the international release was digital only, was $20, and
did not have online. It's single player only. It didn't even have like wireless local play support. Had to finish the match. Fusion World's the other Dragon Ball TCG. It's a digital client. I was fighting somebody who felt like they were intentionally slow playing. They could have just had shit-ass internet speed, too. I don't know, slow playing's just like that guy who I was fighting on the game here, you know, who had his, like, golem self-destruct at the end as his last Pokemon, just to do shit. It wasn't in the Japanese release either. Japanese Western players pestered Bamco and Arxis. Oh, so it didn't even have online play in Japan? That's really weird. Especially because it would have been cool since they're on the same engine for the, Dragon Ball and One Piece fighting games to just be able to play against each other. That would have been super fun. I would say that, but they didn't do anything until the last second and just ended their turn. Lame. So this made me randomly think of it, what I also said before between NSO and you mentioning the online play for the Dragon Ball and One Piece games, but like, I do love that there are online play-enabled versions of the GBA Zelda 4 Swords and Kirby and the Amazing Mirror. Because those are games that where the multiplayer always looked like fun, but the reality of getting 4 people together who all had Game Boy Link cables and linking them together and then sitting there together playing those games felt like a very unrealistic ask, or at least unrealistic in, like, the US or Europe.
Hello, Tully here. It's a great night for fishing. How's your trip coming along? I can't complain about my fishing. Oh yeah, I lost a wild rat in it. It was huge, like this big even. Yeah, I guess you can't tell over the phone. Well, I'll be seeing you.
The only reason I have a full membership is because a friend wanted to play the Zelda one. Seems like it's super fun. Honestly, I absolutely love video game packages that'll include, like, a remake or a remaster of an older game and then just have another game attached. Because I feel like with the GBA Link to the Past, a lot of people just think of it as, oh, it's just Link to the Past on GBA, because most people at the time probably weren't able to play Four Swords with other people. But I feel like the Four Swords sub-series is always kind of cursed. Just from hardware limitations and stuff. Then again, I don't know how many people really go to Zelda for multiplayer, I guess. Sit down, people play 4 Link, people play Magic Mirror? Are you talking about Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, or is there another game I'm just not thinking of that has a similar title? Now, when I actually have stuff like an on-screen model and stuff, I've always secretly wanted to do a collab on stream with other people where we play Kirby and the Amazing Mirror together. Thought it was neat when I played it with a friend. I'm really not too versed in Zelda. I have a weird relationship with Zelda. I have pretty much all the games in the series except, like, the GameCube 4 Swords and a couple other spin-offs. And I think most of the main big Zeldas are pretty good games. I do enjoy them, but the ones that always seem to resonate with me the most are the ones that are really offbeat and different for the series. like, my favorites are like Wind Waker, Minish Cap, and Link's Awakening. And while I do like the Link's Awakening remake, I just think the original surpasses it in ways that matter to me personally. And of all the games I played, Link's Awakening DX is the first game, and the first game of the ones I enjoyed the most by a significant margin. There's something really cool and really funky about the very first Zelda that the rest of the games in the series don't quite capture. Not that it's better or worse, it just is very different. Also, the NES release of Zelda 1's Sword Beam sound effect is one of the greatest sound effects in video game history. I will not be taking criticisms. I was so disappointed because, like, I made, like, a separate Japanese account just to download the Japanese versions of NSO. And I was so disappointed when I played the, because the original Japanese release of Legend of Zelda came out for Famicom Disk System, which had extra sound channels that the Famicom and NES don't have. So some of the sound effects and musical instrumentation are different, and I was so disappointed when the original game's sword sound effect sounded totally different, and it sounds all squishy and gross. Like, this is not the sound effect I fell in love with. You guys want to know the funniest Pokemon game? Sure. Do a map as I played. Oh, that sounds super fun. Pokemon XD. I know you can't see me, but I took off my glasses and, like, hung my head down. Like, pushed one knuckle in, like, between my eyes. It's so funny because I continually to this day use the XD emote unironically, and most people don't know when I'm talking about that game. They just think I'm saying Pokemon with a little laughy face. I eradicated a whole species of worm because of that joke. Oh, worm? Thank you, I love making people groan for my joke. I'm like Fozzie from the Muppets. Is that why those jokes are unbearable? Channeling my inner Teddy for that one. Speaking of 7th, have you been able to dig into Persona 4 anymore? I don't know, probably. I think most of you were, like, out doing other stuff when I mentioned this, but, like, Maddie and I were talking about some Persona-related stuff. And then I ended up getting this video and my YouTube recommended that was, like, 2 hours long, talking about the evolution of the UI in the Persona games, which is exactly the kind of crunchy thing my brain loves to nerd out about. And, now I kind of want to play some Persona. And by kind of, I mean a lot. The exact reason they're unpayable. You're too busy talking about how much I love you, sorry. Ooh. Wait till you start, whenever that'll be. Well, I am really trying to have self-control and finish Final Fantasy V and Parasite Eve before I start another game. I know I keep saying that and keep playing Crystal, but like, when I'm gonna do a shorter stream, and I go to my grinding games. I am really bad about, not even with streaming, just in general, about starting a game and being like, oh yeah, I'm gonna finish this one. And then a new thing catches my attention and I'm like, okay, well I'm just gonna play like the first couple hours of this one. And then I'll go back to the game I was working on, and then I just never go back to the other one. And then the cycle continues. Hoping on starting some projects sometime next month. Ooh. Ooh. I'm playing Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle and slowly realizing I like mix-up Rushdown archetypes. I love Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle because I once described it to a friend and they thought I was just bullshitting them. Because they kind of knew fighting games as, like, a casual fan, and they like RPGs and stuff, too. And I'm like, oh yeah, a fighting game came out, and it's like a crossover between Blaze Blue, Under Night, In-Birth, Persona 4, and Ruby. Oh, they were also a huge Ruby fan. And they're like, you're full of shit. And I'm like, Google it if you think I'm wrong. And it was so funny, because, like, I was at work at the time. So I was like, I had... Not in a bad way, we weren't mad at anything, I just had to, like, go help out a customer or something, and they weren't working. And it's funny, because I help out the customer, and I just hear, holy shit, from across the freaking sales floor. But I need to get the rest of the Blaze Blue DLC because I know they are added like Shinron Kagura and then another franchise to it. Shinron Kagura and everything that happened with that always makes me a little bit sad, because it became a huge victim of, like, the movement toward puritanical prudishness, because PlayStation was basically trying to stop specifically Japanese games from being sexy for some reason. And, like, Steam also was rejecting a lot of stuff, and kind of still are, and now Nintendo's kind of creeped on it a little bit lately. I don't know why. They added an Arcana Heart. Yeah, Arcana Heart is the other thing that's awesome. But it's like, it's easing up lately, but there's the real big prudishness movement at the end of the 2010s and the early 2020s. And it kind of left Shinron Kagura... I don't know about homeless, but it just, like, fizzled out, and the creator got really depressed. I mean, I know it's famous for big bouncing ninja boobies, but the games are actually really good. The characters are interesting, they have cool stories, the art is fantastic. And and it's like anybody with any sense of whimsy could realize that the sexy stuff isn't made to be taken super seriously. The sexy parts are silly and goofy and played almost as much for comedy as they are for titillation. Drowsy, when the hell do you learn Confusion? Okay, Cerebi time. I let Drowsy learn Confusion at like 16 or 17. I actually have Arcana Heart 3 on Steam. I want to play around with it some more sometime. 18! Okay, so I wasn't that far off. Yeah, I remember that Shinron Kagura Burst Renewal on PS4 actually came out like right when Sony was making a shift to being more prudish. Because the game has like... Because this was also removed from Fire Emblem Fates, where it had like a mode where you could just like pet and prod and pick on the characters a little bit. And the Steam version of Shinron Kagura still has this mode, but Sony made them remove it from the PS4 version. And the thing is, there was a trophy attached to it. And because of that, and they obviously couldn't leave a trophy in the game that was for a mode that wasn't accessible, they had to resubmit the trophy list, and Sony made them redo the entire process of resubmitting the trophy list from scratch. So the game ended up getting delayed internationally. I think it was supposed to come out at like the end of 2018, and it ended up coming out like February 2019 or something. I know because I had the special edition pre-ordered. Shinron Kagura is just fun and silly time with the characters and people love. And there are characters people love it genuinely and it's wholesome. Yeah, that's the thing, is like all people see is the boob jokes and they think it's some kind of gooner, coomer, I don't know, whatever derogatory thing that they like to call people who like games that and things that are sexy. No, the reason why it's even more ironic is because culture has, thankfully, started to shift against the puritanical BS. And the thing is, like, a lot of not exactly mainstream, but popular and well-liked gacha games are exponentially hornier than Shinron Kagura. Like, by a huge margin. Which is fine. I enjoy that kind of stuff. But it's like... You know, but Shinron Kagura, like, got all these kind of... I don't even know if you'd call it attacks, but it's just, like... Got this bad reputation when it's really not even that extreme. Then again, it's always a double standard for anything that looks quotation marks anime. Because, you know, people will call, like, Shinron Kagura or, you know, whatever popular gacha game of the moment with sexy characters in it,
you know, like a Gooner game or something like that. But then they'll turn around and, like, I mean, heck, the most mainstream freaking TV show of, like, the 2010s had people, like, fucking their goddamn cousins on screen. I don't think an episode of Game of Thrones went by where you didn't see some woman-identifying person's nipple. I guess it's probably a bit of an exaggeration, but still. War Turtle Tail. Me looking up Gooner Gotcha games. Shaking my head, of course. Hi, welcome in, War Turtle Tail. You picked an amazing time to come in for a first-time chat. We're doing some grinding in Pokemon Crystal. Filling up the Pokédex. This isn't like a Nuzlocke or a challenge run, nor is this any kind of special ROM hack. I'm just playing good old normal Crystal. Filling up as much as the dex as I can on a single cartridge. We've already beaten all the gym leaders in Kanto and Johto, so the only thing really left to do is fight Red. And I have a core team I'm gonna level up to do that with. But I wanted to fill up as much of the dex as I can before I like totally finish the game. But how are you doing on this lovely New Year's Eve War Turtle Tail? Also, this totally is like 18 plus stream, which I feel like I put in the title, but I might not have remembered to. HG fan service being seen. Oh my god, cover the eyes of the people! I'm showing an uncensored sex scene. This is fine. It says 18. Okay, just making sure. I put that tag on every stream. But I've had 1 or 2 people pop in here that just from the way that they carried themselves felt like they were probably actually a teenager. Nothing wrong with being a teenager. It's just... Okay, good. Cool. Nothing wrong with being a teenager. This just isn't the spot for content for you if you don't like me being a whore.
Hey, it's Uncle Ralph. What do you say to a battle with me? Good, you're gonna do it. For a kid, you're quite agreeable. Route 32's the spot. You can call your mom sometimes, too.
Okay, Rolf, Route 32. Okay, so that's south of Violet. Oh yeah, before I go fight Ralph, I'll go ahead and since War Turtle Tail is new here, I'll go ahead and show you the main team we're going to be working with. Because all my Pokemon nicknames are named after, like, candy and snacks and stuff like that. We've got Taki the Arcanine, Doritu the Meganium, who's my starter, Cheeto-Chew the Quagsire, Jelly Belly the Espeon, and the 2 main teammates I've been carrying around with me for the moment as backup, Musketeers the Magneton. Get it? Because there's 3 of them. Is there 3 Musketeers? And Maxos the Firo. Also, I never thought about it, because I like to use Firo and Dodrio a lot. I never really thought about it until it was pointed out in a video that I watched recently, but Drill Peck has really limited distribution. Like, it's crazy, especially in generations 1 through 3, how few things actually learn Drill Peck.
Hey, kid. No losing for me this day.
Like the Spearoline, Dodrio, Zapdos, and
I think a few lines get it by breeding in Gen 2. I think Skarmory gets it by breeding in Gen 2 off the top of my head. But in general, for such a type that's so central to the game, I mean, Fly is basically your fast travel in the Pokemon games pre-Generation 7. There are very, very few flying-type moves. And the ones that are actually pretty good have super limited distribution. Because, you know, like, I understand Dragon and Ghost moves, especially in Generations 1 and 2, having really limited distribution, which weirdly enough, Ghost moves kind of don't, because Confuse Ray and Shadow Ball are, like, everywhere. Especially thanks to Shadow Ball's TM. But, like, you don't think about flying being an uncommon type to have attacks because, you know, you almost always end up with something taught fly in your party in the early games. What if some flying moves were made normal type? Razor Wind being normal and staying a normal type move is always weird to me, because I'm pretty sure it's a commonly known fact that Gust was a normal type move in Generation 1, but it got changed to a flying type move from Gen 2 onward. Which I kind of understand why it was changed, because they didn't want starting with Bulbasaur to be absolutely miserable in Gen 1 and having Pidgeys, like, gusting you for super effective damage the second you walk out the door. But they could have just done what they did in Generation 2 and just give Pidgey Tackle. But like, it baffles me why Razor Wind is a normal type move. But then again, I do wonder if some of the issues come from, flying type in Generation 1, at least from like the beta, didn't really exist and it was more bird type. So it makes me wonder if the reason that there are so few flying type moves is because the ones they thought about making flying type were just stuff a bird would do. Where, like, I feel like from Gen 5 onward, they start leaning a little more into flying being, like, a wind elemental type. Also, you know, if Goldeen can get Peck and Horn Drill, why does it not learn Drill Peck? Because that'd be a really cool option that would kind of make Goldeen stand out from a lot of the early water types, especially because there are so many Pokemon in Generations 1 and 2 that are just water, and that's their only thing. Which, like, I know water types are mandatory, but so few water types from Generations 1 and 2 really stand out unless you have a personal attachment to them. And it's weird, because in the first 4 generations there are so many water types, but water's also one of the starting types, and there's so few water options that feel like they're really a high-tier option. Does that make sense? Actually, you know what, real quick, I'm gonna look up the Sarah, because you can actually look things up by attack. I'm gonna see what lands Drill Peck. Doobie 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 doo doo doobie doobie. I'm probably gonna wrap up Steam in a couple minutes. Because it's almost 11 o'clock. I'm kind of getting tired. I knew it would be a shorter stream tonight. Hopefully,
because I definitely want to stream Thursday because I'm actually off work on New Year's. I didn't believe it either. But hopefully I'm going to stream Thursday. I would like to do a normal stream. It's big late. Okay. You were actually right, 7th. The only Pokemon in Generation 2 that learn Drill Peck naturally are the Spearow line, the Doduo line, and Zapdos. That's it. Then Natu, Murkrow, and Skarmory can get it through breeding. That is the full list of Pokemon that can learn Drill Peck in Generation 2. I am actually happy with myself that I remembered Skarmory can get it. Off the top of my head like that. Because I actually wanted to use a Natu in this playthrough. I thought about using it before I decided on Espeon and stuff. But then I realized to get the Xatu set that I wanted Drill Peck, but it doesn't learn it on its own. So I'd have to level up a Fearow to learn Drill Peck. And I was kind of wanting to use Espeon anyway, so I just ended up going with Fearow and Espeon. I mean, I do always enjoy elemental flying types in the older games, because I love role compression, opening up new spots to make your team more diverse. I actually really want to use Tropius in my Gen 3 playthrough, so I can have a grass type also be my flyer. Murkrow, I remembered. Forgot about Natu. Well, I think a lot of people forget about Natu just because he's so off the beaten path that you can just completely skip the Ruins of Alph. It's totally optional. Like, you do not have to do anything in the Ruins of Alph to finish the game. And the only way to get Smeargle or Natu is the Ruins of Alph. Specifically, I think for Smeargle, I don't remember which one of the two, you have to, like, go through, like, a spot where you have to use Surf or Strength in Union Cave that spits you out in a spot of the Ruins of Alph you can't otherwise reach. And I feel like, especially people who played Gold, Silver, Crystal growing up, probably did not even know where to get a Natu, much less use one in a playthrough. Because honestly, I think most people's first encounter with Natu or Xatu in Gold, Silver, or Crystal, playing it growing up, probably was Will's Xatu's. Found that area completely by accident. I mean, that's the best way to find stuff in classic games, though, is to just kind of stumble on it. There's one thing I think people forget about why a lot of older games were so obtuse. Part of it might have been to sell strategy guides, sure. But also, these games are literally kilobytes in size. Like, screenshots of these games are bigger than the games themselves. And even the coolest and sexiest tech wizards, you can only stretch a megabyte or so far, no matter how much you optimize and compress. So a lot of times they would create the feeling of mystery, exploration, and excitement by not giving you direct guidance to where everything is. By letting you figure it out, by letting you talk with your friends and kind of have your own lore, just being like, oh, dude, did you get Natu yet? No, I haven't seen Natu. Oh, you have to go through this one spot in Union Cave. Like, that's crazy. Like, stuff like that's special. And it's one of those things, I think some people who complain about modern games not having that same sense of discovery is just because a combination of a lot of modern games being much more forthcoming with their content and not wanting you to miss it, and also just not having a bunch of people together playing the same games and talking about how to go get this or find that. Because I think that's why a lot of us, especially that grew up in the 90s and 2000s, will remember the most random shit about games, is because that'll be attached to a memory of talking to friends about them discovering it, or you discovering it first and going to your friends like, guys, check this out. If you go to this place here, you can find this. Or if you beat this enemy, I got this really rare item. Stuff like that. Or hell, just stuff like, one of my friends being so excited in Symphony of the Night because he figured out how to do Soul Steal.
And I think a part of that's why Dark Souls resonates with so many people, because it's, well, okay, I know it's almost 10 years old at this point, but when I say modern, I'm generally, most modern ideas of game design formed near the end of the PS2 era into the PS3 and 360. Because I know a lot of times, like, at the beginning of the Wii, PS3, 360 era, people complained about games getting easier, because they were, but they weren't necessarily easier as much as they were just more forthcoming with their content and less obtuse. But I think that's why Dark Souls resonated so strongly with so many people, is just because it was a modern game that leaned into old game design. And I don't think the Souls games are necessarily super hard, but they're also not directly forthcoming with everything. Oh, sorry, but yeah, I'm starting to cough again and stuff, so I do believe I'm gonna wrap it up. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming to hang out with me and play Crystal for a little. Don't headbutt the microphone, you little fuzzball. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. You guys have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful Christmas/Eve. Everybody get the big EP resty time, because I'm sure you're probably all gonna be staying up till midnight tomorrow. Good night, everybody. Bye. Good night to you too, criminal. Bye.